So at one point, as this prophecy is speaking in detail in here, they might just fight each other. In the drag, because the dragons there could just mean the other that means other Ishmaelite nations, possibly other we'll just have to see how it plays out though. But 31, but the dragons will unite their forces to regain their former strength and win the victory. So yeah, at one point, basically, ultimately, the Ishmaelite nations will get together, regain their former strength, and win the victory. They will turn and pursue the wild boars. The wild boars here is really going into the Israel and U.S. whatever other NATO nations may join up with NATO, mainly made NATO in the United States, since the United States funds Israel's military. It says 32, who will be thrown into panic, beaten into silence, and forced to turn and run. The wild boars will be ambushed in Assyria, and one of them will be killed. They will bring fear and panic to their army and indecision to their kings. That's what Israel is going to, the least shall draw them out. It's going to happen. 34, and then suddenly clouds, terrible, angry storm clouds will cover the sky from one end to the other. Those clouds are missiles, cruise missiles. At one point, it's going to be even worse missiles, like nuclear missiles. These cruise missiles ain't the same as a nuclear missile. They will collide head-on and release their violence upon the earth. The blood of war will be as deep as the horse's belly, meaning much bloodshed. So this is going to be a real war. So it has to be describing the third war. Because of that. And that's the fact. That's exactly what it's mentioning. This is going into the third war. Or someone's thigh or a camel's knees. Everywhere on earth, people will tremble in fear at the horrible sights. Yeah, and everywhere there is literal. That's how you know it's talking about the third war. Because when the third war comes, everyone's going to know about it. It's going to be televised through media. And yeah, then great storm clouds will move in from the north and the south, and others from the west. That's all these nations getting ready to battle. The U.S., the African nations, the West. The West is actually the U.S. The North is Russia and EU. But the winds from the east will prevail and push back those angry storm clouds that were about to bring destruction. So this one is going to be doing good, and when this war breaks off. That's what it's saying there in the 39th verse. Let's get that in the KJV. 39. And strong winds shall arise. Here it calls it strong winds. From the east, and shall open it in the cloud which he raised up in the wrath, and the star stirred to cause fear toward the east and west winds shall be destroyed. And from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them, and consume some of them, and in their own hosts shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings. Yes, so they're both going to be getting their asses whipped, basically. It says in 31 in the KJV. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand. The dragons, we said once again, is the Ishmaelite nations. Start 30 again. And also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. And that's the Syrians, the Iranians today. Iran's leading charge, and those Ishmaelite nations raising up for this war, getting prepared for war. It says in Joel. Joel, the 3rd chapter, verse 9. Proclaim this among the nations, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up to the stir of war. It's gonna break off. This is Revelation 11 and 14. Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe coming quickly come. On back to 2 Edges 15 and 28, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come. So there's the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots and multitudes of them, that they all which hear may fear and tremble. And also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. They're going to destroy their own land. Then shall dragons have the upper hand, so then they're going to have the upper hand once they get land destroyed. And their war is already getting more serious, remembering their nature, and if they should have turned themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. Then shall these be troubled. These shall be troubled, bled, and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. That's going to be U.S. and Israel. And from the land of Syrians shall the enemy besiege them and consume some of them, and in their hosts shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings. Behold, clouds from the east and from the north and from the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. Those clouds are going to be nuclear missiles, cruise missiles. They shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth, even their own star, their own land, basically. And blood shall be from the sword unto the belly, meaning much death. Because the nuclear missile or bomb doesn't necessarily, much death basically. And dung of earth, man, upon the camels, hoof. And there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon earth, and they that see the wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them. And then shall there come great storms from the south and from the north and from another part from the west. So that's the point there on that. Let's get that back in the GNT D. 2 Edges 15 and 39. But the winds from the east will prevail and push back those angry storm clouds that were about to bring destruction. Huge, powerful, angry storm clouds will arise. Storm clouds is referring to jets, military, cruise missiles, and things like that. Will arise and ruin the whole world and its people. A terrible storm of fire. There it is, fire, hail, and flashing swords, cruise missiles, and nuclear missiles and stuff will come sweeping down on those who have power and authority. Every river will overflow into the feuds and the floods. Will demolish cities, walls, mountains, hills, forests, and crops. This destruction will press on until it reaches Babylon. So until the complete destruction of Babylon comes. Through this prophecy here. In Revelation 9 and many other chapters in Revelation. This is Revelation 9 and verse 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen, John here is described the missiles as horsemen, because of how fast they were moving, were 200,000. 200,000 times 1,000, I believe, is 200 million. And I heard the number of them. Or the GMT or NIV tells you 200 million. And thus I saw the horses of the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire. There we go, breastplates, it's metal, fire, it's the missiles. And of Jankith is a yellow, reddish color, stone color, describing the color of the missiles, and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, because of how serious those weapons are, John's describing them as lions because of how serious these missile weapons are. It's like a lion if you were to see a lion. So the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions. The heads there is where the complete power comes from. Like a lion's power is its head. And out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. Mouth, that's the head. It's the power of the missiles. Bodies were the third part of man killed. Third part of man there. Third means complete here. It means also a literal 33.33% of all the land of the earth consists in America, which is going to be destroyed. Hence the 33.33%. Just America, not Mexico or Canada up there. By the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths, for the power is in their mouth, in their tails. For in their tails, it's what the missile has inside of it. Were like unto serpents. So what does the serpents do? They damage, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. It's talking about the silos inside the missiles, or the rocket heads. I mean, hence why it's plural. It says heads and serpents, because there's 200 of them. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands. It's here in America. Whoever gets destroyed with the missiles, they're going to see them and not repent of their works. That they should not worship devils and idols of gold and of silver and of brass and stone and of wood, which can neither see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. So that's what people are doing now, and that's why this place is going to be destroyed. So I got another article here. So going back to the article, this recent one is last Friday, Iran holds drills in Gulf, firing ballistic cruise missiles at simulated targets. The IRGC Navy began its exercise in the strategic Strait of Hormuz in the Gulf of Oman on Thursday. Struck simulated enemy bases and Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Oman, and Azerbaijan. It's like 4 other Ismailite nations joined Iran. Ballistic missiles training there. Firing ballistic missiles there. Had this as well. X, someone tweeted here. Emmanuel Fabian, whoever that may be, is posted Israel will hand over its Arrow 3 long-range missile defense system to the German Air Force in a ceremony at an airbase south of Berlin today. Completing a $4 billion for $6 billion sale, the largest defense export deal in Israel's history. The completion of the sale signed on September 2023 represents the first time that the Arrow 3 system is being deployed beyond the borders of Israel and the U.S., and the first time that the event system is being operated independently by another country. This was Germany that got these contract they signed. This Arrow 3 missile defense system bought from Israel on Wednesday, this past Wednesday. Arrow 3 is designed to intercept long-range ballistic missiles. The first part of the system was inaugurated at the Schönreuth base south of Berlin, and more sites are to follow. Germany is, for the first time, obtaining early warning and protection capability against long-range ballistic missiles. Once again, the nations preparing for war. And recently you had Cambodia as well. After Cambodia war, Thailand signs $108 million deal for Israel's Barak MX missile system. The deal for the system comes shortly after Thailand fought a deadly war with neighboring Cambodia. Making Thailand's first acquisition of a medium-range air defense capability in decades. The deal underscores Thailand's efforts to strengthen its airspace protection against a wide range of aerial threats after the country fought a war with neighboring Cambodia earlier this year. So this is going into rumors of war. This is going into month 24 and 6. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. That's a rumor of war there. Even for all these things must come to pass, but it is not yet.
Rang across the country as Ukraine came under a wave of drones and missiles targeting energy infrastructure and power stations in some 29 areas from the eastern Donetsk region to the Kiev region, where a station and suburban depot for electric trains were hit.
The strike was at the suburban depot. It's not even a depot where locomotives are serviced. It's a depot where electric trains are serviced. We have no casualties at the railway hub, despite the building works that were going on.
In the capital, residents ran to the underground to take refuge.
Russia simply won't stop until it destroys us. That's my opinion. And I think that's how it will continue. Their plan is to bring us down as a nation. Since our building was hit and we lost our flat, we now go down into the metro once the air raid alarm starts.
The attack comes as Ukraine celebrates its Armed Forces Day. At a ceremony, President Zelensky addressed his troops and military leaders and later visited wounded soldiers in a hospital to thank and award them for their service.
Thank you.
The U.S. release of a new national security strategy aimed at deterring conflict with Beijing. The announcement comes amid growing concerns over the Indo-Pacific region's stability and the U.S.-China rivalry. Beijing has called Taiwan its first red line, warning against any external interference. Spokesperson Guo Jiaqun stated that the U.S. must handle the Taiwan issue with utmost prudence and stop supporting separatist forces seeking independence.
We have noted the release of the National Security Strategy Report by the U.S. government. China has consistently maintained that cooperation between China and the U.S. benefits both sides, while confrontation harms both. Mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation are the correct way for China and the U.S. to interact, and the only right path for building a stable relationship. China is willing to work with the U.S. to promote continued stable development in China-U.S. relations, while firmly safeguarding our own sovereignty, security, and development interests.
Last week, China deployed its largest fleet of naval and coast guard vessels across East Asian waters, a demonstration of its maritime strength. Despite the warnings, we emphasized Beijing's willingness to maintain stable ties with Washington while safeguarding its sovereignty and security interests.
We hope that the U.S. will work with China in the same direction, implement the important consensus reached by the two
largest aircraft carrier in the world today is the United States USS Gerald R. Ford, but that title may not last much longer if China's newest project reaches completion. According to recent reports, China has begun constructing the Type 004 nuclear-powered supercarrier, signaling a dramatic leap in its blue water naval ambitions. This major development was highlighted by defense outlet Defense Security Asia on December 3rd, drawing global attention to Beijing's next-generation carrier plans. The new supercarrier is expected to displace between 110,000 and 120,000 tons, putting it firmly into the mega-carrier class. By comparison, the USS Gerald R. Ford displaces around 100,000 tons at sea, which means the Type 004 could surpass it in sheer size and mass. The new vessel will be China's fourth aircraft carrier overall and is reportedly being built at the Dalian shipyard, one of the country's principal naval construction hubs. This construction milestone underscores the Chinese Navy's determination to transform itself into a true global power projection force with carrier strike capability. Satellite imagery and analysis suggest that a keel-laying ceremony for the Type 004 took place in recent months, indicating that physical construction is already underway. Defense experts speculate that the carrier will be configured to host a larger and more diverse air wing than China's earlier carrier, and berthed at a major Shanghai shipyard and designed to...
You know that. That's China and Russia building up their forces. It's from Leon. It says the U.S. 2027 deadline for Europe to lead the NATO defense. Washington signals a may step back from NATO plan if progress lags. European diplomats call 2027 deadline unrealistic amid procurement backlogs and shortages. Intelligence and surveillance capabilities seen as irreplaceable in short term. NATO acknowledges Europe must invest more, but offers no comment on deadline. Shows you the beginning of the NATO tenants hating the war.
NATO command structures and reinforcement corridors on German soil. Both
Germany employs aerial missile defense system on Russian aggression. So that was going into the same thing we spoke on in the article. The Aero 3 missile defense, if I'm not mistaken.
Essential to the alliance.
Bundeswehr Herrn Generalmajor Dr. Frank Utzerat durch Herrn Moshe Patel. Israeli Missile Defense Organization. Mr. Moshe Patel will now symbolically hand over.
Despite occasional political disagreements, military and technological cooperation is the foundation of our strategic partnership, which will only continue to grow in the years ahead. I also welcome the removal of the arms embargo on various companies.
Of illegal outposts, reportedly.
A settler came and settled on the top of the hill near my home, overlooking my house directly. They would shout all night, throw stones, and walk through the middle of the houses. These were harassments no one could endure. They didn't allow us to sleep at night, nor move freely during the day. We were forced to stay on guard day and night, and since it was only my brother and me, we couldn't stay awake both day and night.
The United Nations reporting that more than 3,200 Palestinians have been displaced in recent months, marking one of the worst periods of settler violence since recording began in 2006. The settlers' outposts, often built illegally under both international and Israeli law reportedly, have grown rapidly. Many are eventually legalized by the authorities reportedly, solidifying control over land once occupied by Palestinian communities. Families who have spent decades on their ancestral land have no choice but to start over elsewhere.
So that's just going into Esau, and the Israelis over there giving them a hard time. Because that's what this devil's going to do. In Revelation 6, since he covets fields, he takes them by violence. Let's have it 2. Proof 2 in verse 5 works though, yea, also because he transgressed by one, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, Who enlarges his desire is hell, his territory. U.S. Edomites in power, and it is as death, and cannot be satisfied, and he gave unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So the devil's everywhere, he's taking everything, basically. Micah 2 and 2. Or 2 and 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So the oppressor man in his house, even the man in his heritage, come. That's what you have there with that. With this, the title of this article real quick is 60,000 African penguins starved to death after sardine numbers collapsed. Study. So that all thanks to this devil once again. Fucking earth. Just get the scripture real quick. Isaiah 24 and verse 4, the earth mourneth and fadeth away, the road languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. Here's the point. Because they have transgressed the laws, and that's what Esau has did since being in power, reversed the laws, changed the times and laws. Precept to that is in Daniel 7, he has changed times and laws. And the 24th verse, I think. Changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Esau broke the covenant. But that's not the curse devoured the earth. And that's the curse. That's right here. 60,000 penguins starving to death. In Africa. Climate crisis and overfishing contributed to the loss of 95% of penguins in 2 breeding colonies in South Africa, research finds. More than 60,000 penguins in colonies off the coast of South Africa have starved to death as a result of disappearing sardines, a new paper has found. So with that, that's the point. Oh, yeah. Esau, this thanks to Esau. That's why I say in Revelation 6, verse 4, and there went out another horse. The horses represent the pale black and red horse represent Esau's way of ruling, his power, his laws, his influence, what he's going to do with his influence. So this red horse is one of Esau's influences. It says, and power was given to him. Power was given to Esau to take. Power was given to him that sat there on to take peace from the earth. And the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And they shall kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. That's all it means to Esau. So that's why the earth's defiled and stuff, and Yahushua's going to come to restore that. I'm going to touch on this real quick. It says the UK's food supply is more fragile than you might think.